Teide is an active volcano located in the Canary Islands, an archipelago off the coast of Africa that belongs to Spain. The last eruption of Mount Teide was in 1909. Since then, it has shown signs of unrest with earthquakes and ground uplift. And now scientists have discovered magma moving under the volcano. So will Spain's most active volcano erupt again soon? Is there a volcanic time bomb that could go off at any moment? Let's take a look at what's happening at Mount Teide and find out. This video was made possible by our amazing supporters. If you want to see your name at the end of every video, then you too can support us. The Canary Islands are a popular tourist destination with beautiful beaches and year-round sunshine. But these islands have a dark secret. They sit on top of a hotspot. A hotspot is an area of volcanism that remains active for hundreds of thousands of years. The islands were formed over a hotspot, and new islands continue to form even today. El Hierro, the youngest of the Canary Islands, formed between 5 and 12 million years ago. And La Palma, the fifth largest island, was formed about 400,000 years ago. It is still growing today. Over the last few million years, this hotspot has created a chain of extinct volcanoes and islands that stretch for more than 1,000 kilometers towards mainland Africa. The Canary Islands are the only ones that are still above sea level. The others have been eroded away by the ocean. The Canary Islands are a part of Spain, but they are self-governing with their own president and parliament. Spain does not pay much attention to the islands unless there's a problem like a volcanic eruption. In the past, eruptions on the islands were ignored until they happened. This is because scientists thought that eruptions were unlikely to occur anytime soon. Now we know better. The Canary Islands are home to 3 active volcanoes, Teide, La Palma, and Timanfaya. Teide is the highest peak in Spain at 3,718 meters or 12,200 feet. Its last eruption was in 1909, which lasted for several months and killed 5 people. Although it is considered to be a dormant volcano, it is actually an active volcano. There are frequent earthquakes in the area, and the ground around the mountain is slowly rising. Between 1909 and 2020, the summit of Teide rose 240 meters or 787 feet. That's why it is being monitored closely by scientists. In 2022, scientists detected an increase in seismic activity below Teide. This caused the summit to bulge up by about 10 centimeters or 4 inches. Magma chambers are usually found deep below the Earth's surface, but this one was found quite shallow at a depth of 20 kilometers or 12 miles. It means that a magma chamber exists just below the summit of Teide. Scientists did not expect to find magma so shallow below the surface. This discovery raised concerns about a possible eruption. When the magma chamber was first discovered, scientists were unsure if it would erupt. However, recent developments indicate that the magma may be on the move. According to a new study published in the journal Frontiers in Earth Science, researchers from the National Geographic Institute in Spain used a technique called continuous GPS monitoring to measure the movement of magma beneath Mount Teide. This technique involves setting up a network of GPS stations around the volcano that can detect even the smallest changes in elevation. By measuring the changes in elevation, scientists can determine the movement of the magma. The results of their study revealed that the magma has started to move downwards. Although the study's lead author, Maria Jose Blanco, says that the magma moving down does not necessarily mean that an eruption is imminent, the situation must be carefully monitored. If the magma continues to move downward, it could eventually reach the surface and cause an eruption. But don't worry, scientists are on top of it. They are continuously monitoring the volcano and will keep an eye on it for any further developments. So why did the magma start moving downwards? Well, that's a good question. Unfortunately, scientists do not know exactly why the magma moved. They have some theories though. For example, the magma may have been pushed down by new magma that came up from deeper in the Earth's mantle. Or it may have been pulled down by the gravitational force. Whatever the reason, the magma has started to move and scientists are keeping a close eye on it. If the magma does reach the surface and an eruption occurs, then what happens next? What would happen if Spain's most active volcano erupted again? The effects of a volcanic eruption depend on several factors, including the size of the eruption, the type of magma, and the location. In the case of Teide, its last eruption was relatively small and did not cause major damage. However, a larger eruption could have devastating consequences. One of the most immediate dangers of a volcanic eruption is the pyroclastic flow. A pyroclastic flow is a fast-moving current of hot gas and volcanic matter that flows down the slopes of a volcano. These flows can travel at speeds of up to 100 kilometers per hour or 62 miles per hour and can incinerate everything in their path. Pyroclastic flows are one of the most dangerous aspects of volcanic eruptions and are responsible for the vast majority of volcanic deaths. Another danger is volcanic ash. During an eruption, volcanoes can eject large amounts of ash into the atmosphere. Ash can travel long distances and cause respiratory problems. It can also damage crops and contaminate water supplies. Volcanic gases are another hazard. Volcanoes emit gases such as sulfur dioxide and hydrogen sulfide, which can be harmful to humans. In addition to these direct dangers, volcanic eruptions can also cause indirect damage. For example, an eruption can trigger earthquakes, tsunamis, and landslides. The eruption of Mount Unzen in Japan in 1991, for example, triggered a tsunami that killed hundreds of people and caused billions of dollars in damage. So what would happen if Teide erupted? In the event of an eruption, the Spanish authorities would need to take quick action to protect the lives of the people living on the island. The first step would be to issue a warning and to begin evacuating the area. People would need to leave their homes and go to a safe place where they would be out of harm's way. At the same time, emergency services would be put on alert and rescue operations would be planned. But what about the island's infrastructure? Would it be affected by the eruption? The answer is yes. Roads, buildings, and other infrastructure would likely be damaged by the eruption. The ash and debris from the eruption would also likely cause widespread power outages and other disruptions. In fact, the economic impact of the eruption would be felt not only on the island, but throughout Spain. The Canary Islands are a popular tourist destination, and an eruption would likely have a negative impact on Spain's economy. But what is being done to mitigate the risk of an eruption? The Spanish authorities are taking the threat posed by Teide very seriously. They are working closely with scientists to monitor the volcano and to develop a plan of action in the event of an eruption. One of the things they are doing is installing new monitoring equipment. This equipment will provide scientists with even more data about the volcano and will allow them to track any changes that occur. In addition, the authorities are developing a communication plan. This plan will ensure that people living on the island are informed of any potential danger. They will also work with the local media to get the word out. The authorities are also planning for evacuation routes in the event of an eruption. These routes will allow people to escape the danger zone without having to travel through the most hazardous areas. Despite these efforts, it is impossible to say with certainty what would happen if Teide erupted. The Canary Islands are home to millions of people, and an eruption would undoubtedly cause chaos. The economic impact would be felt throughout Spain and perhaps even Europe. However, the Spanish authorities are committed to doing everything they can to protect the lives of their citizens. They are working closely with scientists and other experts to develop a plan of action in the event of an eruption. Hopefully it will never be needed, but if it is, then the people of the Canary Islands will be ready. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then check out our other videos about volcanoes. And if you really love our content, then consider supporting us.